and welcome to India Business Hour. I'm Shireen Bhan. The headlines that we're tracking for you this evening. Top cabinet ministers Nirmala Sitharaman, S. Shankar and Piyush Goyal may contest the upcoming Lok Sabha polls. None of the three have ever contested a Lok Sabha election before. The Vodafone Idea board approves raising 20,000 crore rupees through the equity route, says promoters will also participate. Adds the company continues to engage with lenders to raise around 25,000 crore rupees in debt once the equity fundraise is complete. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman nudges corporate India to hike capex yet again, adds that next-gen reforms will be top of the agenda for the Modi government in its third term. The National Company Law Tribunal reserves its order on a plea asking that Byju's rights issues be declared void, gives the company's co-founders and the Ministry of Corporate Affairs 3 days to submit written replies on the matter. Hinduja Group gets a step closer to taking over Reliance Capital. The NCLT approves a 9,800 crore rupee revival plan by IndusInd International Holdings. The Supreme Court issues contempt notice to Baba Ramdev's Patanjali Ayurved and its managing director Acharya Balakrishna, bans the company from advertising products as medicinal, also restrains it from making statements against allopathic medicine. India selects group captains Prashant Balakrishnan Nair, Ajit Krishnan, Angad Pratap and Wing Commander Shubhanshu Shukla to man the Gaganyaan mission. 3 of them will go on a 3-day low Earth orbit mission. Japan's Takeda Pharmaceutical ties up with Indian vaccine maker Biological E to manufacture Takeda's dengue vaccine. AstraZeneca unveils an India strategy that banks heavily on its innovation pipeline. US President Biden hopes a 6-week ceasefire take effect in Gaza by Monday, says the ceasefire will extend through the month of Ramadan and pave the way for the exchange of captives. Also on the show, CNBC TV 18 reports from the Mobile World Congress, where tech developers and chip makers unveiled a slew of AI-led products. Big smartphone makers like Samsung, Motorola, Xiaomi and Nothing unveiled their offerings, ensuring that these mobile makers are future-ready. Well, before we get to all of that, here's a quick check of the day's stock market action. The markets ended flat after a choppy session. Indices trading in a tight range as weak global cues and a lack of specific domestic triggers prevented an all-out rally. So the sensex and the nifty closing flat, about 0.5% higher on the sensex, the nifty 76 points higher. The mid-cap index just about in the red and the nifty bank just about in the green. Nothing much really going on there. Failing to break into the green, that was the story for the mid-cap 100 today. But just days ahead of the announcement of poll dates for the Lok Sabha elections, there is a strong possibility that top union ministers from the upper house may be asked to enter the electoral battle. Union Ministers for Parliamentary Affairs, Prahlad Joshi, has given a hint on the key cabinet ministers who could fight the upcoming Lok Sabha elections. Nirmala Sitharaman, S. Shankar, Piyush Goyal are the big names being speculated. Parikshit is standing by now for more details on this story. Parikshit, many thanks for joining us. This has been speculated for a while now. Prahlad Joshi hinting that we could see some big names in the fray for the Lok Sabha elections. Take us through what we know.
Well, over the last few weeks, the campaign of the BJP has been hinting and has been showcased around the Prime Minister's delivery model, that this is a government that has delivered on all promises, unlike previous governments and unlike what the opposition has been saying. So what the government and the BJP's thinking seems to be, let's field some of our senior cabinet ministers who are in Rajya Sabha, but who have a strong record of governance and administration. So Nirmala Sitharaman, you could see her contesting from Karnataka. She has been the finance minister, the face of several reforms, face of several budgets, and really the key point for interaction with the financial sector in the country. Then you have Piyush Goyal. His name has also been doing the rounds, and he could be likely contender for the Lok Sabha elections. He is also somebody who has been interacting the industry very closely, interacting with farmers very recently during the farmers' protest as well. You have Subramaniam Jaishankar, an experienced diplomat who has been taking India through some very complicated diplomatic situations over the last 5 years or so. So the government believes that their experience can be leveraged before the public. There are other cabinet ministers in the Rajya Sabha who could be contesting as well. You could be looking at the likes of Bhupendra Yadav, the Labour Minister, Mansukh Mandavia, the Health Minister, Dharmendra Pradhan, the Skill Development Minister as well. Many of these ministers have already said in public domain that they are willing to contest, but most of them are right now awaiting clarity. We hear that the BJP could hold a high-level meeting very soon where the names could be decided, but it is still some time off.
Parikshit, many thanks for joining us. Now, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman urging corporate India once again to hike capex. Addressing a session organised by FICCI, the Finance Minister said industry must seize the opportunities thrown up by the government's capex-led growth strategy. Listen it.
Government is showing its commitment by ramping up expenditure, capital expenditure. I would appeal to the industry, standing on a FICCI platform. Indian industry can now surely move forward with a great speed. It is time for Indian industry also to join in this game in a big way and look for, if necessary, for technology or any other reason, look for greater joint venture partners around the world for whom India is attractive, and I'm sure it is attractive for you in the first place. We are at a juncture in India's history where it is just all opportunities and it is for us to grab it.
Well, that is the Finance Minister reiterating her message to the private sector. Pick up on private investment. The Company Law Tribunal has given Byju's co-founders and the Ministry of Company Affairs 3 days to submit written replies to the argument that the company's rights issue should be declared void. Now, the NCLT has reserved its order in this matter till these replies come in. Remember, the EdTech startups investors have moved to the NCLT for relief and asked that status quo be enforced on the shareholding. CNBC TV 18's Ritu Singh has been tracking the arguments and joins us now with more details at what transpired at the NCLT. Ritu, arguments being made by both sides, the order now reserved. Take us through what transpired and what were the key observations.
Well, you had NCLT Bengaluru hearing what was effectively an oppression and management suit that was filed by a select group of investors against the current management of Byju's. The petition was filed by 4 investors, Prosus, General Atlantic, Safina and Peak 15, along with support from other shareholders like Tiger Global and Owl Ventures. Now, while NCLT did not declare the rights issue void as sought by investors as of now, it merely granted 3 days' time to the co-founders, to the company Think and Learn Private Limited, to the Ministry of Corporate Affairs to submit their written replies in the matter before it arrives at a final decision. But during the course of the hearing, the court did observe that the board cannot allot shares via this rights issue to raise money until they have increased the authorized share capital. And this increase in authorized share capital will require majority shareholders' consent, for which the company would have to convene a shareholders' meeting to begin with. Now, remember, Byju's $200 million rights issue closes tomorrow. That is the 28th of February, and what happens to the issue is unclear at this point of time because it is going to be subject to the court's orders. Now, we spoke to both of the sides to understand their points of view. Now, while sources within Byju say that the rights issue will continue as per plan and close tomorrow because the court has not granted any stay on the matter, the investor sources claim that the company cannot use these rights issue funds until a shareholders meet happens to approve the increase in authorized share capital, and whether or not the offer goes through will ultimately depend on the interim order. So in terms of reliefs that were sought by the investors, aside from this rights issue, of course, they asked the courts to defer the issue and appoint independent observers to attend board meetings. They also argued that, right now they're between the devil and the deep sea, so to speak, because if they don't subscribe to the rights issue, their stake falls sharply. If they do, there's no saying where the proceeds will go, because they said the company has been accused of siphoning funds, and, they're claiming that the money will be managed in a separate account by the CEO and CFO at a time when the company doesn't even have a CFO. Investors also sought an injunction on the founders selling, encumbering or transferring any assets of the company and its subsidiaries, among the other reliefs. But meanwhile, you had the Byju's counsel denying these allegations of non-transparency, saying that on one hand, you have investors admitting that the company is in need of funds, but on the other hand, they're trying to stop all sources of funding. So they argued that blocking this rights issue, not allowing them to raise funds, will be akin to killing the company.
All right, Ritu, many thanks for joining us. I guess we will have to wait for a few days before we see the order coming in from the NCLT. 3 days for the written replies to be submitted, and post that, we will see the NCLT prepare its order. Now, the National Company Law Tribunal has approved the Hinduja Group's 10,000 crore rupee revival plan for Reliance Capital, and this paves the way for the Hinduja-promoted IndusInd International Holding to take over the bankrupt company. However, Torrent Investments' plea challenging IIHL's resolution plan for Reliance Capital is pending in the Supreme Court. Well, the Vodafone Idea board has approved fundraising of 20,000 crore rupees via the equity route. It will see shareholders' approval in due course. The company's promoters will also participate in this exercise. Vodafone Idea continues to engage with its lenders as it looks to raise an additional 25,000 crore rupees in debt. But that is once the equity fundraise is complete. This will take the total fundraise to 45,000 crore rupees. Vodafone Idea says it will use the funds to expand its coverage and roll out its 5G network. Remember, it has been on the search for funds for long now, and that hasn't been forthcoming, so we will have to see how this pans out. In global earnings, Zoom Video Communications beating street expectations in the January quarter, helped by strong demand for its expanding product portfolio. The video conferencing company reported nearly $300 million in net income compared with a loss of over $100 million last year. Zoom also announced a share buyback of up to $1.5 billion. Amazon Pay has received a payment aggregator license from the Reserve Bank. This will enable the entity to offer merchant payment services through its app. The company already has a prepaid payment instrument license to operate its wallet services. Bitcoin hitting a 2-year high, crossing the $57,000 mark on optimism about sustained investor demand through ETFs. Crypto investor MicroStrategy's purchase of 3,000 bitcoins also supported prices. The crypto has rallied more than 10% in the last 2 sessions. Well, there is fresh trouble for Patanjali Ayurveda. The Supreme Court has banned the company from advertising medicinal products. The company has also been charged with contempt of court. Ashmit is standing by now to take us through the details. Ashmit, this is not the first time that Patanjali Ayurveda has been in the crosshairs of the Supreme Court. Take us through why the court has come down so hard on the company.
Well, the Indian Medical Association, the representative body of doctors, has long been making this case before the apex court that there are not only advertisements, misleading advertisements that are being put out by Patanjali Ayurveda, but also the fact that they are talking in a way, issuing statements that are critical and that are in fact false as far as allopathic medicine is concerned. And that was the core concern, basis which in November of last year, the Supreme Court was very critical of Patanjali Ayurveda and had issued directions to Patanjali at that point to restrain any of these misleading ads. In fact, even warning that Supreme Court will not be shy of slapping penalties of 1 crore rupees for every false product that is advertised. Now, it is in pursuance of that that the IMA, the Indian Medical Association, again moved the apex court to point out that there has been no stopping these misleading ads, which caused the apex court to be completely furious with Patanjali Ayurveda today. Over the course of the hearing, the Supreme Court said that this is prima facie in the teeth of the November directions that the apex court had given, that this is contemptuous behavior by Patanjali Ayurveda, that there is no going back from this, there is no excuse made, there is no defense of medicines that are being advertised to provide a permanent cure for either diabetes or blood pressure, and that this was something that the apex court was firm on in terms of taking action. So what is the action? Well, number one, a contempt notice has been issued to Patanjali Ayurveda. They have to respond on as to why they should not be prosecuted under the Contempt of Court Act. That's basically in lieu of the November 2023 order. Further, the Supreme Court has issued a total ban on Patanjali Ayurveda from advertising any of its false, misleading products which claim to have a medicinal value. And that's the second key component. The third is the Supreme Court also critical of the actions of the ministry, the Ayush ministry, the government. The Supreme Court asking questions as to what actions have been taken by the government to check these misleading ads. That's again something that the government will have to come back on. So clearly the Supreme Court expressing its frustrations, taking action against Patanjali Ayurveda.
Ashmit, many thanks for joining us. Japanese car major Toyota will recall over 2.8 lakh pickup trucks and SUVs in the US. The vehicles will be called back for a software update and unexpected movement caused when vehicles are in neutral and brakes are not applied. The vehicles include the Tundra Hybrid and the Lexus LX 600. The two-day BioAsia Summit is kicked off in Hyderabad with Japan's Takeda Pharmaceutical partnering with Indian vaccine maker Biological E to boost manufacturing of Takeda's dengue vaccine. My colleague Ekta Batra spoke with the pharma major and also AstraZeneca, who said that it will focus on building its innovative drug pipeline in India as it looks to transform itself into an organization focused on treatments for specialty diseases. Take a look.
Mostly we are transforming towards a specialist disease and towards the patented, and as I'm saying, that our aspiration is to bring innovative medicines to India as rapidly as possible. So we'll see a portfolio turning towards more patented and less towards the general size stuff.
Our ambition in Takeda is to be able to produce 100 million doses a year by the end of the decade, and our partnership with Biological E is a critical part of our manufacturing supply strategy. Through this partnership, BioE will be producing up to 50 million doses, half of our supply, and that supply will not just be for India but for global markets.
When we find data integrity issues that are so extensive in facilities, it really speaks to the quality culture of that facility. And what we want to see from companies is not just a quality motto, which most companies should have and do have. We want to see them empower their employees at every level to make the right decisions regarding product quality and to have the accountability to follow that up. And so that's maybe one of the pieces that we think could solve some of these data integrity issues.
All the action from BioAsia. Up next on India Business Hour, CNBC TV 18 reports from the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona, where tech developers and chip makers unveiled a slew of AI-led products. A special report when we return. Catch all of CNBC TV 18's news and updates on Facebook, X, Threads, Instagram and JioCinema. India has selected 4 astronauts for the Gaganyaan mission. Prime Minister Modi gave astronaut wings to Group Captains Prashant Balakrishnan Nair, Ajit Krishnan, Angad Pratap and Wing Commander Subhangshu Shukla. Only 3 of them will go on a 3-day mission into a low Earth orbit. Astronaut-designate Group Captain Prashant Balakrishnan Nair is an ND alumnus and received the Sword of Honour at the Air Force Academy. Nair is a Category A flying instructor with around 3,000 hours of flying experience. Similarly, Group Captain Ajit Krishnan is a flying instructor and received the President's Gold Medal at the Air Force Academy and has about 2,900 hours of flying experience. Group Captain Angad Pratap is also selected for the exercise. He was commissioned as an Indian Air Force fighter stream in 2004 and since then has experienced flying a variety of aircraft. Further, Wing Commander Subhangshu Shukla will also be part of India's first crewed space mission. Shukla is a fighter combat leader and his vast experience of flying aircraft, including the Su Mach-1 and the MiG-21, among others. So that's Team Gaganyaan for you. US President Joe Biden says he hopes for a 6-week ceasefire in Gaza by next Monday, says the ceasefire will extend through the month of Ramadan and pave the way for the exchange of captives and the entry of critical aid into Gaza. And in Europe, Sweden has cleared the final hurdle to join the NATO after the Hungarian parliament approved its accession. Remember, the Nordic country had applied for the membership after the Russia-Ukraine war erupted. It will be the 32nd member in the NATO alliance. Now to Spain's Barcelona, where cutting-edge 5G technology and hardware supporting AI captured the limelight at the 3-day Mobile World Congress. Motorola unveiled the concept of a bendable phone. It's a flexible phone that bends and can be worn on the wrist like a smartwatch. Samsung's Galaxy Ring offers integrated insights based on health data collected by the user. Lenovo has launched the world's first laptop with a transparent display. And the ThinkBook has a 17.3-inch micro LED display with AI object recognition to identify objects placed behind the laptop.
Guys, I'm at the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona 2024. In front of me is the most exciting, the most innovative launch of this year, and it's the world's first transparent laptop. It's showcased by Lenovo, and with me is the creator of this product, AG. Hello, AG.
Hey, hello.
You're the man of the moment.
Yeah, of course. I'm really excited to showcase this leading the technology product here. Yeah.
Okay, as you can see here, guys, that this is a completely transparent laptop. It's got a glass screen. You can see through it. It's translucent. You can see my hand. You can see the sunflower behind. And that's the keyboard. Do you want to quickly take us through the functions and how it operates?
Oh, yeah, of course. So we call this Lenovo the transparent laptop concept. It's not a real product yet. Yeah, but it's also with a very leading micro LED technology here. You know that for the traditional display, there are two layers. One is a backlight, the other is crystal liquid. So the crystal liquid itself is not transparent. So with the traditional technology, you definitely cannot make the transparent PC. But for this one, we use a micro LED. That means we put millions of the dots in glass. Every dot actually is a micro LED light, so that it can create light, and with three colors together to combine with, you can show a white color. With millions of dots, you can display anything on the glass. But when we power off the dots, so that you can see that it's almost 100% transparent.
AG, you know what's most disappointing? That this is a concept laptop. Why is Lenovo not putting it into production? And how long did it take you to create this product?
Yeah, I'm also disappointed that I cannot make it a product right now. So because this is really a challenging and a leading technology, so we have spent more than 2 years to from just the idea or some pieces of technology, combine them together and put it in the system as a concept of laptop. We already spent more than 2 years, but I think in the coming several years, we will keep working on it and keep investing on this leading technology to make sure that it can be better enough. For example, can be thinner, can be less power consumption, can be solid, durable enough. Then when you use it, you cannot destroy it easily, right? Currently, it's very fragile, so I think it only can be a concept.
And it's also a little expensive, right?
Yes, of course, because we have lots of engineering work on it. We make a lot of investment. If right now we bring to market, definitely will be very, very expensive. So I think we may take some more time to make it better and cheaper, can be affordable in the market.
All the action from the Mobile World Congress. One of Europe's biggest car makers, Skoda, has announced its plans for the Indian market. The company is all set to enter the compact SUV segment, which will be launched in 2025. Danish gets us all the stories.
Skoda has been present in India from the past 2 decades. Unlike any other foreign car maker, it has seen its fair share of ups and downs, but now the company has big India plans, as the company is all set to enter the SUV segment, which is fast growing but highly competitive. Well, the company is all set to launch its compact SUV in 2025, which will take on Tata Nexon, XUV300 and Maruti Brezza. Well, not only this, the company will also be launching its first ever EV, which will be in the premium segment, and we can expect the pricing of this electric vehicle to be over 40 lakh rupees.
The compact SUV is a cornerstone of our growth strategy. I mean, we have observed the market, and the sub 4 meters in India are really 63% of all the sales in 2023. If sub 4 meter is 63% of the market, we have to be there. If SUV is the most demanded version in this market, we have to bring the SUV. And this is our commitment, and this is what we announced today. 1 year from now, we will come and announce and show the real car.
The new compact SUV will be built on company's MQB platform, which has been designed in India, and the new compact SUV will be manufactured at company's Pune facility. Moreover, the company will also be ramping up its capacity by 30%.
Most successful car in Europe, the EV, our Enyaq, is ready, was tested here in India for more than a year, and is ready to be launched, and we would bring it this year. The ultimate target, in order to reach the volume, we need a scale. For this we need the right car, the right product with the right price, deeply localized, and this EV will be produced in Pune, and this will be our volume maker, which will be the final of our range. But the smallest car which we will actually offer in India.
Well, Skoda has set a target to double its market share to 5% by the year 2030, and similarly, the company has also set a target to sell over 1 lakh vehicles annually. With video journalist Raju Gupta, this is Danish Anand for CNBC TV 18.
Well, Skoda and its India plans. With that, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of India Business Hour. Thanks very much for watching. Do stay tuned. The news will continue right here on CNBC TV 18. Thanks for watching.